Welcome to Kyvos training. In the previous session, you learned how to register source data sets. In this session, you'll learn how to create a relationship schema in Kyvos using data sets. We'll be covering the following topics: adding a relationship schema, defining a node, connecting nodes, setting relationship properties, supporting schema types, and viewing relationship schema. Once you have the data sets, the next step is to create a relationship schema. The relationship schema that you create can be abstracted using a semantic model. Let's start by clicking the toolbox. Select the Relationships option. Click the Actions menu to add the folder. Give it a name, Kyvos Training. Next, click Add Relationship. On the left side, you will see all the datasets you have registered with Kyvos. On the right side, you can see a blank workspace. Use the search box to find the dataset or folder by typing its name. Let's start by dragging these datasets onto the workspace. You can drag more than one dataset. Each instance of a dataset that is dragged onto the workspace is known as a node. Remember, you must have a fact table in the center of the workspace. Here, we will drag the Fact Internet Sales fact in the center. If you didn't mark the table as a fact during dataset creation, you can do so by right-clicking on the node and selecting Node Type and then Fact. Kyvos supports three types of nodes: Fact, Bridge, and Dimension nodes. Alternatively, in the Properties section, specify the node as Fact. The Properties pane lets you check node properties, access source information of the node, while the Relationships pane allows you to view or modify relation types. Let's drag the remaining nodes to the workspace. Remember, you can't create a relationship between fields of different types, such as a numeric product key field and a text-based product alternate key field. The two fields must be the same data type. Let me show you how to use a simple drag-and-drop operation to create a star schema, using an example to illustrate the process. We have one fact table and three dimension tables. To create the relationship, we'll drag the product key from the Fact Internet Sales fact dataset to the product key of the DIM product node. Similarly, we can create a relationship between fact and dimensions for the remaining datasets by simply dragging the joining keys from the fact table to the date and customer dimensions. Click the line to view the relationship details. As you can see, we've created a star schema. To check if the relationship and the datasets used here are valid, click the three dots here and select the Validate option. Here you can see if it is a valid relationship. Click Save to save your design. If you have multiple fact tables and want to stitch all the dimensions together, you can do so easily with the interactive Kyvos UI. Kyvos supports single file schema if you have a single denormalized table, star schema, snowflake schema, as well as multi-fact schema. Remember, when joining snowflakes from a fact to a dimension or a dimension to another linked dimension, join or link only in one direction. This helps create datasets in a logical sequence from one dimension to another, and finally, to a fact. We recommend keeping your design collapsed for greater efficiency when working with large relationships that contain multiple dimensions and facts. Using this simple UI, you can also create complex schemas depending on your business use case. To handle complex relationships, you can switch to tabular view. Note that changes made in the tabular view are irreversible, and you cannot switch back to the graphical view. Once you create the schema, it will become the source for the semantic model designer. Now, we will learn how to create many-to-many relationships. Click the toolbox icon and select the Relationships option. To demonstrate the process of creating many-to-many relationships, click the Actions menu and add a folder, M2M Demo. Once the folder is created, click the Actions menu again and click Add Relationship. Now search for the required datasets or folders in the Datasets column. For this use case, we are using the fact and dimension schemas from the training demo folder we just created. Now, let's drag the fact node, fact sales to the workspace, followed by the corresponding dimension nodes: dim product, dim customer, dim date, and dim account. To create a relationship, we will drag a field from the fact node to the corresponding dimension node. Let us establish relationships between fact sales and dim product, dim customer, and dim date. However, we have not found the appropriate key to join fact sales with dim account. In such a situation, to establish a relationship between these two tables, we will introduce a bridge table and create the necessary relationships. To do so, we are adding a bridge node named Account Bridge that contains unique combinations of account key and date key. More specifically, it contains multiple instances of date key at the column level, and the same for the account key. In the Properties pane in the Node Type section, specify the bridge node for this Account Bridge node. Now we define a unidirectional relationship between the bridge and the fact nodes using the date key, and the bridge and the dimension nodes using the account key. This unidirectional relation from fact, bridge, dimension creates a many-to-many relationship. Note that to use any of the facts or dimensions from a many-to-many dataset, you must create a bridge dimension in the semantic model. This marks the end of our session on creation of relationship schemas in Kyvos. In the next video, we'll dive into the process of designing a semantic model. Thank you.